Fourth quarter with Gary Jones, Dr. Gary Jones here at Youth for Tomorrow. Your family has been so supportive of you, and I know you consider those at Youth for Tomorrow your family, and there are people at Youth for Tomorrow who consider you their family, but your direct family. How important have they been to your success?
Well, no journey like this is a journey by yourself. There has to be your family really being on board and making sacrifices while we're all in this together. And the sacrifices that have been called upon by Barbara and our children, Julie and Gary, many times I worked late. I had to work late. Somebody has to watch the children, and there were many times when I was on campus watching the children, chasing children through the woods to get them back in their homes and whatnot. And Barbara is an adoption attorney, so we have a lot of things in common, that these are like my adopted kids out here. I treat them as my own sons and my own daughters with my love and other means as well. But Barbara has been a very unselfish person when it comes to what it requires of me to be out here to do what I do for others, for the Lord. My son is serving on the Board of Trustees for Youth for Tomorrow, and daughter and son-in-law are serving on our Board of Advisors. And second daughter-in-law, I've got to get on our Board of Advisors as well. I love to have the family fully connected. I have a grandson that works here. So this is becoming a life's work for a lot of us in the Jones family.
And what was the reaction of your wife to the, I would think, several 2 a.m., 3 a.m. phone calls you might have gotten in the past 30 years?
Well, she's been very understanding. She's a very, very committed Christian, and we tithe to the youth home, so that shows you where our commitment is in God's work. The importance for all of us to understand is we all have a role to play. And some of us have a role to play on campus, and some of us have a role to play by them working in their own field of their dreams, and yet being a partner with us here at Youth for Tomorrow. So Barbara and Julie, Gary, Scott, and I mean, they've been there for me for all these years. And Allison, who is the newest member of our family, she's already a deep-seated Christian, and she's doing things for the youth home as well.
I've heard so many people express their love for you, former residents, staff members. You, in fact, have correspondence and letters you've received over the years from former residents. How does it make you feel when you hear these things?
Fortunate, humble. This is all in the Lord's plan. He's designed all of this. He's designed my being here, and he's designed what you see here on our campus, be it facilities or programs. I cherish my relationship with staff members. And I cherish the relationship with the kids that have been here. And there are some that are now graduates, but working at Youth for Tomorrow in a professional capacity. I get several letters, notes, and many of them say you're the father I've never had. And it's endearing to me, but it also they've done without, and yet they've done very well in the end result.
The future is bright. We've talked about that. And there are a couple of projects that you are working feverishly on. And for those who might not be aware, what are some of the agenda items for the next 5 years, say, here at Youth for Tomorrow?
We now have, from the first regional office in 2012, we have 6 regional offices between Prince William County, Fairfax County, Loudoun County, and Fauquier County. That's our future. Continued growth in that. We will always have residential. Okay, that's really who we are. But when you start seeing us providing 25 to 28,000 clinical sessions a year to children and adults in our community, the needs are enormous for mental health, behavioral health counseling. And I'm looking with others, of course, to double the number of regional offices that we have. Still keep them in Northern Virginia, but maybe look at suburban Maryland. We've thought about going further south into the Commonwealth of Virginia for the services, and even further west. There isn't anybody doing what we're doing in a regional concept to the magnitude that we're doing it. And that's what I think our calling is to serve the needs of boys, girls, and adults without having to give up their homes, without having to give up their businesses, but they can go to our services after hours and receive all the clinical services they need for stability in their mental health.
We do this interview from the chapel, the Peterson Family Chapel. And I think that was built several years ago. And to think that the campus was based on godly principles, for us to be in the chapel is another blessing.
Oh, it truly is. You know, some of our folks always wanted a gymnasium, and we got the gymnasium with our school. I've always wanted a chapel. Since the first day I drove on this campus as CEO, I wanted a chapel. It should be at the center of our campus. It should be at the center of our lives. And thanks to private philanthropy, we have this chapel, and particularly thanks to the Peterson family. John Peterson has been on our board for over 20 years. He and his family, his father Milt, they've just stepped forward and finished the funding goal that was required, and that's why it is called the Peterson Family Chapel.
I know where you get your passion for the job as we wrap it up, but describe a good day at the office at Youth for Tomorrow for Dr. Gary Jones.
The best days are when kids want to come and see me, frankly. And other than that, the good days at the office are when the executive team of Youth for Tomorrow, all of us get together and look at what needs there are on campus, what we have to address financially, programmatically. The health standards are high security standards are always most prominent with us. So we meet every week and we decide what priorities there are for the next week and the next month, and we go from there. But children are the highlight.